Yes, my name's Graham. I'm with the Vintage Guitar Players Group, and thanks for joining us for the next Vintage Legends. So I'm here for the last one of the year with Mr. Mik Crone from Wakefield, born and bred.
Wakefield, Yorkshire.
Yorkshire, born and bred of the north.
Yeah.
Listen, thanks for joining us today, man. Really do appreciate it so close to Christmas. Like I say, this is going to be the last Vintage Lessons of the year, but only because, like I say, we're running out of year. A quick note, just that if you guys want to find us online, you can get us at the Vintage Guitar Players group on Facebook. You can check us out, 95 Vintage Legends on Instagram. And if you're enjoying what you're liking with the interviews, and obviously we'd love you forever if you subscribe. So, if you don't mind, Mik, to get the ball rolling, if I can ask a bit more from you about your music in your own words.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I used to be a band called KOK. We did 2 albums. I was approached by Gavin Paulson, the legend.
The man, the myth.
To see if I was interested in using the AV1 vintage model. And at the time they were new, they just brought them out. So we brought them round, and it completely blew me away. I just loved how you could change the output of between this humbucker and single coil sort of set. Fairy coil. I like the access that you could get to it. I like that it was black and gold, because for some reason black and gold always looks cool. Yeah. I said, we'd use it, and I used it for, I had a couple of them. I used them for probably 4 or 5 years on everything. I think there was some footage of Leeds Cockpit, a video where I was playing it. Video for Free Fall, which is, if you go on YouTube, k.o.kaine, Free Fall, there's a music video where I'm using it as well. Which is quite good because we had CGI explosions at the end. So we're all like rushing out, we're like there's an earthquake and everything's exploding, but really we're just kind of doing that Star Trek thing where they sort of fly around like that. So yeah, I used the AV1 for a long time, and what happened was they discontinued it, as you probably know, and they went to
Fret series. Yeah,
Fret King, and at the time I was kind of like, well, I like the AV1, but then I was starting to get itchy fingers for other guitars as well, and I was like, I don't know if I want a Fret King because I don't know if it's exactly what I want. So what I'll do is I'll play the AV1 a bit more, but then I ended up having a big thing for like Kramers and stuff like that. So I went away from the brand a little bit, just for a bit, and and I missed them. I missed it a lot, so I stayed in with the brand with other things. I was using Kettner, who were distributed through all SKUs, and a few other things, the XV stuff. And when this model came out, I thought, I'm going to jump back in. That is amazing. I've always wanted an SG with a vintage style tremolo. And
they're pretty stunning, that finished with the blue, aren't they?
Oh, it's beautiful. And it's amazing the price difference between that and the bigger brand version.
Not half.
It's just like ridiculous. So I got this and I just thought, this just ticks all the boxes, and especially for like the bluesier stuff. Because I do like to shred. I have to confess I'm a bit of a shredder at heart, but I do like a bit of 70s kind of stuff as well, and I like to plug in and pull all the faces when you're bending the notes and stuff.
The guitar faces.
Oh yeah. So this guitar kind of ticks all the boxes for that kind of stuff. I just love how you can just wrap your little finger around there and just feel like, you probably won't be able to it's on Zoom, but you get that like, it's just like a super chill instrument. It's really nice to sit in the back garden when it's sunny and just with got one of them little amps like that, the battery power, and just sit there.
So for reference, for everyone, since we're in the UK, that's like what, 1 day a year we can sit in the weather-wise, one day in the sun.
1 day a year, and it's about 50 degrees, and everybody's like, and then it just goes away.
So that's
Do you remember that?
most.
We had that like 45-degree weather. That it just went like, or 150 degrees or whatever it was, and it just everything went nuts, and then it just disappeared and started raining again.
Yeah, I think we're going to have some more of that kind of stuff, but I remember that because the tarmac and the roads and pavements was starting to get like a little bubbly, melted bits on it, which was quite something for Glasgow.
Oh, it was just bizarre, a bizarre time. Just one of them weird things, a bit like the pandemic. That was another bizarre, weird thing.
Yeah, definitely one
Yeah.
that's good to put behind us, you know. Music wise, I mean, I know obviously you mentioned about the Advanced series. Guitars, I really miss them. The AV ones are brilliant. Just that little notch up at the, you know, the kind of
Oh, yeah.
top end with the selector switches and an LP shape. Normally, just that little bit you can get a thumb into. Man, they were excellent. But guitar wise, obviously you've got that one just now. What would you like to see more of from Vintage, or if you had, you know, if you could put together a kind of pro shop for your own or your own signature model, for example, what would we see from you?
I like the. I know I've been like on the page on the fan page. I've been like saying that I want a green sparkle SG, like a flake green, like what Tracy Guns uses from LA Guns
Yeah,
when he vault. I think that'd look cool. I think some maybe just I don't know. I really like the look of the purple V100s with the Bigsby.
they look pretty cool.
Yeah, I think they're pretty cool.
I would love
Uh,
to see one of them without the Bixby. I would love a hardtail version of the Mara Floyd.
yeah.
Like,
The flame on them looks great.
yeah,
Um, and I just think maybe a bit more choice with the rock stuff.
yeah,
You know, and a bit more sort of hot rod sort of style. You know, maybe a single humbucker one, or just a bit more of a sort of influence from the older American sort of Charvelli kind of styles.
yeah. So kind of you talking about like an '80s Chevelle type thing, super stratty type thing? Or
Yeah,
you talking before that, or
yeah, maybe stuff. Maybe start putting like brass. It's like brass nuts on maybe, and maybe brass saddles. That might be cool.
yeah, go proper
Um,
Americana sort of thing?
yeah, stuff like that. But I think the vintage pretty much cover everything really in what they do. Um, but I think a bit more of a rock. It's either classic style or metal. I think there could be a sort of gap in between.
So you reckon
Where
a
you
kind
think,
of, I don't know, classic but modern, you know, like modern take on classic styles, that kind of thing? Just,
yeah, just little tweaks in them, like maybe put a kill switch on something. I know they do that on the custom shop,
yeah,
on some pro shop stuff, but maybe a kill switch in there, maybe active pickups. Um, give you sort of an option. I'd like to see the comeback of a Z type shape or an Explorer, as they can be called, but
yeah,
don't know where
some,
we stand with saying stuff like that.
I would
Just give.
honestly love,
Um,
love that kind
I'm
of thing.
I'm a big fan of that, and I know that they got like they had to change the shape, didn't they? And they did
Yeah,
release some for a while, but I quite like those kind of shapes. I know that the Fret King do the which model is it that's like it's kind of like a cross between a Firebird and an Explorer.
the Esprit. Yeah, it's been
Yes, yeah.
discontinued.
It's been
It's
discontinued.
been discontinued. Yeah, I had a bit back done. If you're in the vintage players group, you can see. If not, join the group and have a look. I had put in a couple of just really naff Photoshop mock-ups. One of them was like
Oh,
a
you put like a three side headstock on it.
yeah, so one of them, one black, one white sort of thing that I think would be pretty cool. But again,
You know
if
what? I think that's exactly what I'm thinking. That'd be cool. Like what you said, do that as a vintage model.
I think it would be pretty cool. You
It'd be
know,
cool, and do it with a variation where you can have a Floyd on it, or you could have active pickups on it, or 'cause you don't have to go major brand active pickups, do you? There's different companies that do different things.
yeah,
You can
exactly.
source to a price point,
Yeah, I agree.
Um,
That'd be pretty cool. I think as well, I can stick up the little Photoshop things in this just on the video so folk can have a look. And if anyone, has thoughts on it, feel free to chime in because, Vintage are always good at taking on board people's thoughts and stuff. But I think, yeah, something rocky, especially there's a certain band with a very, they're not metal, but they're very much into their kind of satanic theatrical kind of things who have made a kind of 70s shape of guitar very popular, one a black one, one a white one sort of thing.
I know what you're getting at.
Yeah, that's been. I think that's kind of popularised that quite recently. So I think that would go down well. But the question I do have though is, see the VS6 if you're going to have one of them in a pro shop. Are you talking about like big emerald sparkle sort of thing here?
Yeah. Oh yeah, like a custom shop job. Yeah, definitely. And I'd maybe give an option for a different kind of. You see that? Have they ever done a different sort of the headstock emblem like that? I know it's part of how it always is, but maybe if you did a custom shop one, they could maybe do some pearl kind of thing on it.
That'd be pretty cool.
Maybe.
They're pretty neat because there used to be. I know it's decals now. There used to be a kind of pearloidy type sort of thing going on, wasn't there, for the logo when years gone past?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember some of the ones.
Yeah.
Is that pre-Trevor Wilkinson era?
Oh, so I think that is Wilkinson era, but pre about 2015, I think, something like that.
Right. Yeah. This is the I kind of because I'm a guitar teacher as well. I've since Vintage first started. I was just saying to you before we started recording. I remember the Encore Professional series.
Yeah.
And I've seen, because I've been teaching for 20 odd years, and I've had a lot of students who had the original pre Trevor Wilkinson ones, and some of them were just amazing as well. I had a friend who had a gold top one, and it was like one of the best guitars I've ever played. But you didn't have the Wilkinson parts then, so once the Wilkinson parts came on, obviously everything got better as well. But yeah, even I just remember the brand from day one. And value for money, it's hard to beat, really.
And I think it is. I know I've said it before, but I think it's really cool that obviously, again, punting the group, but it is good. Like it's a good format for and a good forum for being in I suppose, a community for folk who are digging the guitars, but also like Vintage are great with like competitions and all sorts of things that will give us, gear for from time to time or merch or whatever. But they genuinely, like, there's been suggestions that folk have had for, like, we would like to see this finish and, and it goes into production at some point, so they're really good with that sort of thing.
Yeah.
You can never please everyone, but, it's really good to be able to have a kind of bit of an idea about these things and a bit of a sneak peek of some things sometimes, But music-wise, what I do want to touch upon is obviously the kind of music you play, what you've got lined up this next little while.
Well, I kind of like try and do a bit of everything because I do a lot of session stuff as well. And the last band I was in, the Sourheads, which is still on hiatus, it's not split up officially, and I don't know what's happening with it. That was kind of like an Iggy Pop 70s kind of thing. So that was kind of like a different thing. My heart is really in the shredding kind of stuff. Like my influences was Jake Lee, George Lynch, all those kind of 80s people, because that's what I grew up on. I used to record, can you remember, I don't know how old you are, but there used to be ITV used to turn into a music channel at night. It used to be called Music Box, so we used to set the video. We used to set the VHS to record all night, and so you'd get the rock show. And I used to, I just remember seeing Shot in the Dark Ozzy Osbourne video.
Yeah.
Seeing Jake Lee, and just rocking out, and Ozzy being like in his mystical chair, even though he looked like Dame Edna Everage. But he's like, turned down in his frock, and everybody's like, I'm doing all this, and that just as a 10-year-old kid, you're just like, oh, what is this? It's like, this is amazing. And there's a woman who's turned into a demon, and there's like all these people like doing this, and there's like Aussie looking like Dame Edna, like, yeah, but evil person. Yeah. Yeah, but it kind of like stuck in my head, and then I like going to Kiss and stuff like that, and it was sort of like so that's where my roots were, and shredding and just playing as fast as I could, and faster and faster and faster, and I just used to sit there. What I used to do is I used to like sit in a different room, get a 25-foot lead or a 30-foot lead, put the amp somewhere else, because it always sounded better when it was further away for some reason.
Opens up.
Yeah, and everybody would go, shut up, shut up. You just keep doing it. And
I've got the opposite problem in a one bedroom flat where I'm like, God damn it, I've got like a 20-foot lead and I'm sitting here. Like,
he's it's more, look at it like it's your portal. You are in a portal. Yeah, so that's what I was into, and that's what I did. But then I've always tried to keep a bit sort of more versatile. So when the Sourheads came around, we got a deal with a German label, and it were more sort of, we ended up playing with a lot of stoner bands and doom bands and stuff. And so I sort of cut out solos with that. And the KOK and stuff, I didn't really do many solos because that were going through the new metal sort of era. So that's when like Killswitch Engage and stuff like that were about.
yeah.
So that were like proper metally stuff. But now with the Black California stuff, which is a project which I started before the Sourheads, but then I put it on hold. We had a single out with a different lineup, and there's a video on YouTube if you watch. So that's called I Was Wrong. And I formed it again when the Sourheads went on hiatus. So we've got a new single coming out called Preachers, Schemes and Fools. It's just been added to radio. It's getting a good response. We had a few problems with the mix, but we think we've got it sorted now. So that should be out end of December, beginning of January. And we've got an animated video coming out for that as well. But that's got guitar solos in it, so I'm happy about that. I decided to let rip, yeah, this time. But I think that's an important thing about being a musician. You've got to know when to play and what to play.
Yeah.
And I think it's easy to get pigeonholed in something because you're doing it a lot. And the amount of times it's like people say, "Oh, you just listen to like Motley Crue. You like Motley Crue. You like Cinderella. You like Poison." It's like, well, I did at one point, but I also like Nine Inch Nails, and I like Queens of the Stone Age, and I like Clutch, and I also like Slayer, and you know, and I also like Barbra Streisand and the Bee Gees.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think the more you listen to certain types of music, and I say this from someone that listens to an awful lot of rock and metal, I think that a lot of folk kind of do quite easily categorise you and go, you're just this guy who wears this black stuff, you must be into this stuff, you can't possibly like this other stuff. Like, no, I can like that other shit too. Like, that's fine for you to like that or dislike it as well, you know?
I think it's an age thing as well. I think when you're a kid, you're trying to be a clique, you're trying to be in a group, you're trying to be recognised as whether it's you're wearing chinos and you're classed as a chav, or you're a rocker or a mosher or whatever they want to call you, whatever name you've got given to you by other people. But you try and find an identity, and I think as you get older, you kind of slow down a bit, and you become sort of like a refined version. That's more true. You're not following trends anymore. You've already you now know what you want and you know what to do. But I think as a musician, I think you've got to be able to do everything, every style, if you can. And because, like for example, this week I'm touring schools playing Mariah Carey songs, and loads of other stuff. But I'd rather be doing that than, I don't know, packing donuts in a factory on a 12-hour night shift. Not that there's anything wrong with that if that's what you do, but I'd rather be playing music and pay the bill. Got to do a few things. Yeah,
that's the thing. There's nothing wrong with having aspirations for whatever you want to do, and that's either way. That's the thing, isn't it? If you can make a living doing one thing and you're happy doing that, awesome. It's quite right.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I don't want to sound like I'm being anti everything else because not everybody can make a living playing music, but And that's also really important that you've got that escapism. You've got that sort of go out. You know, you can go to work doing something you don't like. I mean, I've had jobs that I didn't like. I used to work in a makeup factory, putting lipsticks in tubes. But I'd come home and I'd have my guitar, and then that made me happy again.
Yeah.
You know, and that's important. Yeah. So going back to what lost track now. I don't want to sound like I'm like being like. I you'd say something, then you think, oh no, people are going to think I'm an idiot for saying that.
That bastard Mick.
No.
We're good.
Yeah.
We're good. Music-wise, then, so you reckon end of this month, start of next month, that gives people plenty of time to go online now and subscribe and check you out, follow you on social media. So whereabouts can we find you?
Well, what's happening with the social media thing is we haven't launched it yet, because what we're going to do is we're going to launch a Bandcamp first, and we're going to get the video on. Because the thing is, I'm a bit sort of stumped on what to do with that, because if you start social media but you haven't got any followers, you're not going to attract any.
Yeah, that's fair.
The thing. So what I'm thinking is, I think I'm going to treat it more business-like and try and contact companies first, and then go from there and see what happens. Try and aim for like maybe a European sort of following, maybe a Germany kind of thing.
Do worse.
Like that.
See some gigs in Germany. You can do worse than that then.
Yeah, definitely. That's what you've got to go where you think you've got to sort of target what you think you'd work well with. And I think that kind of audience is what this project is, really.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Well, what we can obviously do is, once things get launched and stuff, we can obviously get it posted in the group, so that folk can see it as well. So you'll definitely follow there, you know.
Yeah, I'll send it to you. The Bandcamp's nearly done. It's just not published yet. We're just waiting on this video to come back from where it's been made. I don't know. We've got some animation team in Malaysia, I think, or somewhere like that. Could be Malaysia. I'm not sure. I'm not dealing with it really. It's a singer who's dealing with it, but they're doing the video for us.
Very cool. International effort.
Yeah. Well, we shop around, and the thing about the internet is if you know where to look, you can find people everywhere. It's worldwide, isn't it? So so we're looking at that, and hopefully that'll be done today or tomorrow, and then the single will be out probably 29th of December, I think, on all digital platforms, and then we'll see where we go from there. We'll see what kind of response we get. We've got 6 songs recorded, or 5 or 6 finished. But yeah, the idea is try and attract some companies and try and get it out, just basically so they can help with the sort of publicity of it and doing stuff as well. Work as a team.
Yeah.
Instead of having to do everything ourselves.
That sounds pretty awesome. Well, again, folks, be sure to keep a tab and have a look. But, keep a tab.
Tab. You did.
It's the most clever thing I'll ever say, and I'm going to edit out the video. But Alison, very, very much appreciate you've obviously come along tonight, my friend. So thank you for joining us. And again, like I say, folks, please do check out Mik's music when you can.
Yeah, and keep on living the dream. Vintage guitars.
Gorgeous finish. And sexy as blue.
Oh, it's just amazing, isn't it? I just, sometimes I just sit there with it by the side on the sofa, just looking like, yes.
That is the one.
It's the one. I love it.
If you don't like blue, if you prefer something else, pro shop. Get yourself a pro shop. Treat yourself.
Get a green flake, green glittery flake custom one. That'd be cool.
And give it to Mick.
Give it to me.
Dear. Listen, well, thank you so much for joining us, man. And
thank you.
We'll catch up soon, right?
Nice to speak. See you later. Bye-bye.
Bye.